Across the vast expanse of Russia, the shadows of conflict deepen, as strategic strikes pierce through critical infrastructure, sending ripples of disruption across entire regions. Overnight, central Russia experienced significant power outages following a precision strike on a 500 kV Balashovskaya electrical substation. This facility is a crucial component, linking the Voltskaya hydroelectric plant to the nation's central power grid. The attack likely disrupted energy flow across multiple regions, exposing once again the inherent vulnerability of Russia's extensive power network to such targeted actions. Almost simultaneously, another powerful explosion was reported in the Samara region, where the Kinel-Cherkasy substation, another vital energy hub, was also struck. While Russian officials have yet to release comprehensive details, widespread reports indicate significant disruptions in the area. These coordinated attacks underscore a notable escalation in the ongoing conflict, demonstrating that long-range drone and strike campaigns are now targeting not only oil refineries and military depots, but also the very backbone of Russia's essential energy system, leading to widespread power outages and significant concern. In a remarkable display of aerial engagement, a Ukrainian Air Force Yak-52 light aircraft was reported to have physically intercepted a Russian Zala reconnaissance drone, ramming it with its wing in a mid-air maneuver. Such incidents highlight the evolving tactics employed in the aerial domain, where Ukrainian forces have reportedly become highly proficient in countering Russian drone threats using both fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. The human cost of the conflict extends beyond the front lines, with disturbing reports emerging about disciplinary practices within the Russian military. A soldier and several of his comrades were reportedly subjected to severe punishment for refusing a suicidal order. The order involved faking the capture of a village for propaganda purposes, an objective that had already resulted in the deaths of many other soldiers. The soldier and 3 colleagues were allegedly tied to trees for 4 days, deprived of food, water, and access to basic sanitation. They were explicitly told they would perish there, either from a drone strike or artillery fire. This practice of tying soldiers to trees has reportedly become a recurring form of punishment within the Russian army, colloquially dubbed sacrificing to Baba Yaga, a grim reference to the Ukrainian bomber drones that have caused numerous Russian casualties. The soldier in question was on his 4th deployment, having previously served as a crew member on a thermobaric rocket launcher before being transferred to an infantry assault detachment. His unit was situated in a contested area northeast of Slavyansk. According to the soldier's family, he and his comrades were dispatched on a mission to a Ukrainian-held settlement. Their orders were to photograph themselves with a Russian flag near a prominent local building, likely a town hall or cultural center. Such flag-raising videos are a common feature of Russian propaganda, often used by commanders to fabricate reports of military successes for their superiors, with the expectation of receiving medals and financial awards. Russian military commentators have frequently criticized this practice, noting the severe casualties it inflicts. Indeed, raising a flag in a contested area can often be a bloody and costly endeavor. In this instance, the commander's reckless actions reportedly led to a significant loss of life in a very short period, all in an attempt to compel soldiers to execute a senseless order. Only 4 members of the soldiers' group survived the initial attempt. Upon their return, the commanding officer, identified by his call sign, ordered the survivors to attempt the mission again. However, having witnessed the devastating consequences, they refused. In retaliation, all surviving members of the group were allegedly tied to trees. The soldier's mother recorded video of her son and his comrades in this distressing state and submitted it to the Ministry of Defense, hoping to prompt action against the commanding officer. However, the ministry reportedly dismissed her concerns, claiming the videos discredited the unit, lacked proof, depicted non-service members, and were generally not authentic. Despite this, the soldier was eventually granted temporary leave. Yet, upon his return, his commander reportedly threatened his life. Fearing for his safety, the soldier went absent without leave, AWOL, and is now located at an assembly point in Roshchinsky, Samara. His mother reports that he is currently being prepared for another deployment to the front lines in Ukraine, where she believes he faces a high probability of being killed, potentially even by his own side. She is actively seeking assistance to cancel his redeployment, highlighting the dire circumstances faced by some personnel within the military structure. Meanwhile, on the battlefields, a large Russian mechanized attack near Shakhovska in the Donetsk region was completely repelled. Fierce battles continue to rage around Shakhovska, where Russian forces are intensifying their assaults in an attempt to push westward. This area, strategically positioned near the vital Pokrovska axis, has rapidly become one of the most intense sectors on the Eastern Front. Russian units are employing heavy artillery, glide bombs, and massed armored assaults in successive waves, tactics that bear a stark resemblance to those observed during the intense fighting for Bakhmut, all aimed at breaching Ukrainian defensive lines. However, Ukrainian troops are responding with rapid and effective counterattacks, striking at Russian flanks and disrupting their advances with precise drone and artillery fire. Over the past 48 hours, Russian forces have sustained notable equipment losses, including several armored vehicles and a number of infantry groups caught in exposed terrain. Local Ukrainian commanders report that despite Russia's numerical superiority, their assaults are steadily losing momentum due to constant attrition and a persistent lack of coordination among their units. The situation in the sector remains fluid, with Shakhovska enduring near constant shelling and drone strikes. Ukrainian defenders are holding firm, successfully preventing Russian forces from gaining operational depth, while their counterstrikes continue to inflict heavy damage on Russian logistics and staging areas. The sustained battle for this sector clearly indicates that Russia's push in Donetsk is far from the sweeping offensive its leadership had initially envisioned. Beyond the immediate battle fronts, geopolitical pressures continue to influence the global landscape. Indian refiners are reportedly preparing to reduce imports of Russian oil in response to pressure from the United States. A former US president claimed that the Indian Prime Minister had assured him that India would cease purchasing Russian crude. However, officials caution that an immediate halt to these imports could trigger a significant spike in global oil prices. Washington has linked the possibility of reduced tariffs on Indian goods to a corresponding decrease in Russian oil purchases, illustrating the complex interplay of economic and diplomatic leverage in the international arena. In another instance of international pressure, the US administration has reportedly authorized the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, to conduct covert actions in Venezuela. This development follows statements from a US president indicating a consideration of direct land-based actions, characterizing the Venezuelan leadership as illegitimate and accusing them of drug trafficking. The US has specifically targeted Venezuelan boats and asserted its right to defend its sovereignty against actions it claims are actively killing Americans. This stance has led to Venezuela presenting its case before the UN Security Council, asserting that these actions constitute a violation of international law. The US maintains that the Venezuelan leadership is illegitimate and has ties to designated terrorist organizations, affirming that all available tools, from intelligence operations to diplomatic and military measures, will be utilized to defend US interests. In the airspace above Ukraine, specifically within the area of responsibility of the Air Command East, Ukrainian air defense forces continue to perform effectively, successfully intercepting the majority of incoming Russian drones each night. Mobile fire units and advanced electronic warfare systems are actively tracking and engaging targets across several regions, significantly mitigating the impact of Russia's drone attacks on critical infrastructure. Most of the intercepted drones have been identified as Iranian-made Shahd models, neutralized before they could reach their intended targets. This consistently high interception rate demonstrates Ukraine's growing proficiency in layered air defense and its remarkable ability to adapt quickly to Russia's evolving aerial tactics. Despite these defensive successes, the armed forces of the Russian Federation recently struck a multi-story residential building in Chernihiv, underscoring the persistent threat to civilian areas. As these disparate events unfold, they collectively paint a picture of a conflict marked by strategic escalation, profound internal challenges within military ranks, and persistent geopolitical maneuvering. The ability of forces to adapt, innovate, and sustain efforts across multiple domains continues to shape the trajectory of this profound struggle, with each passing day bringing new developments to the forefront.